All right, Eric Ten Hag keen on signing Ivan Toney, and I'm gonna be really digging deep into what I think we should be doing in here as a club of Manchester United. Am I really giving it a backing or not? This is what I'm gonna be doing in here onto the United Matters channel. Starting it off with the three players that Man United are gonna hit to make as a priority, and I'm also gonna be really digging deep into that, and obviously dissecting who else can we be looking at, all which other striker is being linked to the club of Manchester United right about now. Welcome to this channel. This is the United Matters channel. Smash the like button, comment and share. If you're really watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Rock and David is my name, and hope you guys are really having fun, and continue to obviously subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. And how do you really get that? By hitting the notification bell, and let's hit 20,000 subscribers, guys. Let's really hit 20 and obviously have something to celebrate about before the end of this month. And we are left with just 16 days left to end this month, but I know all can be possible and all can be put into the perfect working order. Now let's obviously start it off with Samsi reports. He says he works for the United Stand. He told us that Michael Olise, Gerard Braithwaite and Ivan Toney are primary targets for Man United this summer. They are also considering Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Now, this was the story that was really put out on the 13th, that is yesterday, that the three players that Man United are really eyeing at are those. And out of all those they've gone ahead to list, I think, in a particular order, Gerard Braithwaite was supposed to be one of those, and that's why you see it that a bid has gone ahead to be put in for Gerard Braithwaite, and it has gone ahead to be rejected. But for Ivan Toney, all Calvert-Lewin, all Michael Olise, I don't find it viable to do such deals right now, because we are having positions that we should reinforce first, and those positions I've always gone ahead obviously mentioned them here. I've talked about a central defender and a CDM. Those are supposed to be the first two players that we need to first obviously get in at the club of Manchester United, and then we'll obviously start talking about the striker condition, because these players are there. Rasmus Højlund is there. Bruno Plaza false number 9. We are having players like Garnacho and so on and so forth, Ahmad and Anthony, right? And before you dislodge any of those, why should we go in for these other players, you know? So out of those three, I believe the only player that ticks all the boxes for what United wants is Gerard Braithwaite, and that's why he's gonna hate to find that they've gonna hate to make a bid for him, and that bid was a 35 million pound. It is between 35 to 45 million pound bid in there for you for Gerard Braithwaite, and wait to see how things really pan out into that area. But those three players, Gerard Braithwaite bid is in. It has gone ahead to be rejected, and I know Man United is preparing to obviously put in a second bid for the side of Gerard Braithwaite. Now, we also got a story from Alex Crook confirming to us that Brentford will not sell Ivan Toney for any less than 60 million pounds this summer. He has been linked to Man United, and he has been linked to a number of Premier League. Now, this is where I look at Brentford and I laugh at them. For a player who is 28 years of age, for a player who is really lacking in character because of his cases of being banned for betting, you know, a player who has just 1 year left on his contract, you want to sell him for 60 million pounds. And I saw the manager, Thomas Frank, come out, brag that he's like a hurricane. And I asked, Harry Kane had been consistent for like 6 seasons, and that's why it was easy for him to obviously go for it was easy for him to go for that amount of money, you know, close to 100 million pounds from Tottenham Hotspur to Bayern Munich. Now, Ivan Toney, how do you say that he should go for 60 million pounds? No one is going to pay 60 million pounds. And if I told it 60 million pounds, I don't really fancy him to be here. 60 million pounds doing what? And we are looking in for players who can really do the job, and in his position is coming in through. There is already a striker who has gone ahead to net 16 in his first season in the Premier League. And did Ivan Toney really go in for those numbers even in his first season? I don't really remember very well, but he's not a striker I cannot really fancy to bring to the club of Man United with his price of £60 million. There is no way you tell me that we should really go ahead and obviously buy him for that amount of money, though the manager looks like he's keen to obviously bring him at the club of Manchester United, and he wants him to sign for the club. And this is some reports for the United stand. He has told us that he understands that Man United continue work and due diligence on Brentford striker Ivan Toney. Sources have indicated that Erik ten Hag is keen and likes the player. Arsenal did some checks on Toney and are understood to have had some reservations on his character. So, when you look at Erik ten Hag keen on getting in Ivan Toney, I understand people have always said Man United need an experienced striker, but I've always gone ahead to really rebuff that. Do you know why? Look at Man City. They're having two centre forwards. One is 24, one is 23. And who of those is having really huge experience? No one. Julian Alves and Erling Haaland, and they are both doing great. So, that idea of talking about experienced strikers should end. It should end. We cannot spend £60 million onto Ivan Toney, yet there is a Joshua Zirkzee who goes in for just £35 million. Half of the amount of money that they want to sell Ivan Toney to Manchester United for. So I find it very naive for Man United to obviously spend that amount of money for Ivan Toney, and he's really aging. He's really aging. And talk about his character, that he has always found himself in a position of really betting, and he was found guilty and suspended for 6 months. And what if another case arises, and he gets a life ban? Isn't that what we call a loss? So I don't think that we should even come close or anywhere near Ivan Toney. I like Erik ten Hag, but I think when they sit into what we call a meeting, they'll obviously tell Erik ten Hag, let's not risk. There are other centre forwards that can do the job, and let's do something like Man City did. They went ahead and signed Julian Alves in, and when they signed him in, they brought in Erling Haaland at the same time. But right now for us, we are having Rasmus Højlund. He's really well conversant with what the Premier League is all about. Yeah, you all know that. And why don't we really find another striker, whether young or old, and not all that cheap, and not all that expensive, to come in through and do the job? Because if you have in a striker, even if it's Guirassy, at £16 million, it's great. He can come in through, play 1-2 seasons. When he's 30, you can obviously sell him off. But why should we go in for a striker like Ivan Toney, who is that age, and he's costing close to £60 million? I think it's better to even go in for a player like Solanke. You remember Solanke plays for Bournemouth? He scored very many goals this season, and he looks like he has come of a reality to obviously be one of the strikers for a big club in the Premier League. So I would at any one time go for this guy. That is Solanke ahead of this guy. I could go Zirkzee ahead of this guy. I would go Brobbey over this guy. I would go Santiago Jimenez from Feyenoord over that guy. I would go Cunha of Wolverhampton Wanderers over this guy. I would even go for Morata. You get? Because I know he can come in and obviously be a second striker. Although he said that if at all Atletico Madrid are not really seeing him as a key player in their team, he's really going to leave. You understand? That amount of money can bring in João Felix. You understand? So I find it very, very bad that we are being linked to Mpan, who is really not all that ready to come in through and really put in a shift for the club of Manchester United according to what we think our project should be looking at. So let's wait and see how that pans out. And Man United should obviously ask themselves why a club like Arsenal had to do what Sam C went ahead let us know that Arsenal did some checks on Toney and understood to have some reservations on his character. And I don't want us to obviously fall a victim of players like Pogba, players like Jadon Sancho, and so on and so forth, because those people have come up to obviously put in a very hard time at the club of Manchester United because of their character. Look at Sancho, you know, he's the man whom they signed as a right winger. They told him that our plan is to play you as a right winger. He arrives at Man United, he says, I don't want to play on the right, I want to play on the left. You know, he told it to the manager that signed him, that is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and even Erik ten Hag. And that's why Erik ten Hag went ahead to obviously go in for a man called Toney, because Sancho was like, I don't want to play on the right. And you look at Sancho, and I think he thought that it was going to be very easy for him to obviously hate or dislodge Marcus Rashford out of that position. And Rashford went ahead to have one of his better seasons, and they had already gone ahead to bring in another player. So I think we shouldn't obviously get in players with weak mentality. Let's obviously look through ourselves and obviously understand that it's time to really get in players that are really right. You know, you might sign in Ivan Toney and he really gets banned again, and we don't want to see ourselves into that position. That's why I prefer to go in for another striker altogether. Lastly, it's the Euros starting today. Germany now has 4 goals. Falkirk has gone ahead to obviously score the 4th goal with Florian Vaz, Musiala and Kai Havertz being on target. 4 different players on target. And guess who has found who? Jose Mourinho and Sir Alex Ferguson. And Mourinho posted on his Instagram that with the Scottish legend, I have to be with them, great men. But all hasn't gone ahead to go on well. They've gone ahead to swallow 4 goals. And Germany looks like they're really very sharp for this tournament. They want to obviously do the needful and take this back home. And with how they are playing, they really deserve credit, because it has been long since they last went ahead to win an opening game into any tournament. From the Euros, World Cup, and so on and so forth, they really didn't look okay. But Nagelsmann has gone ahead to do a very good job in this Germany national team, and is really looking good and great. And you never know, they might even score 6 or 7, because Scotland are a man down. Scott McTominay representing Man United, nowhere to be seen, and is being played in the midfield. But the players are really suffocated because Germany presses and doesn't allow those small pockets of space into the mix. So that is Ferguson and Jose Mourinho obviously enjoying down in Germany, but I think Fergie won't have the best of the day, because his national team that he supports has gone ahead to obviously be beaten hands down. Your thoughts on Erik ten Hag on Ivan Toney are welcome in the comment section below, and I would want you to tell me, should we splash £60 million on Ivan Toney, or we should obviously splash half of it on ZKZ, or looking for other player outside everywhere. May the living to God bless you abundantly. Rokan David remains my name. I sign out for now. See you later as the Muslims. Barakallahu fikum, and we are out for now.